With the notion of invasion or annexation by Russia apparently off the table for now, the conflict in eastern Ukraine has settled into a slow, grinding stalemate, and the next phase will probably be more political than military. The battleground is already clear: nationwide presidential elections scheduled for May 25. The interim government in Kiev will hold elections for a new leader, and aims to begin moving the country out of its post-Maidan crisis period. The pro-Russian separatists in eastern Ukraine, however, say there will be no voting in the territory they control. Whether the election occurs in Donetsk and Luhansk, two regions that declared independence after hastily prepared referendums earlier this month, will be a test of the strength and durability of eastern Ukraine's separatists, and give a good sense of whether Kiev is recapturing momentum in the region. In Donetsk, the would-be capital of the pro-Russian separatist forces, both sides act as if they are in control, with each probably more confident than reality warrants. The Kiev-appointed governor of Donetsk, Serhiy Uta, claims that voting on May 25 will proceed normally, even though he was forced to make the announcement from the hotel ballroom rather than his official office in the regional administration building, long overrun by anti-Kiev fighters. The nominal head of the Donetsk separatists, Denis Pushilin, has said there will be no elections at all. Following the legally dubious referendum overseen by his supporters, Pushilin calls the Ukrainian military forces in the east are occupiers and says the election will select a president of a neighboring state. That is surely braggadocio, but Kiev's writ is indeed weak over much of the Donbass, the eastern region heavy with industrial plants and coal mines where the separatists claim the most support. Yet their reach may not be enough to cover the thousands of polling places that the Kiev government plans to operate across the region. The separatists have enough fighters to disrupt voting and keep some polling stations from opening, especially in areas where they are strong, such as the military stronghold of Slavyansk. But they lack the numbers to take over every school, cultural center and administrative building where voting will occur. They will probably focus on preemptive intimidation, targeting electoral officials and other local administrators for threats and attacks. In Luhansk, for example, separatist fighters kidnapped an election commissioner. Voting day may be a flashpoint for violence, because pro-Kiev paramilitary groups are expected to deploy to ensure voting, while anti-Kiev fighters may fan out to do the opposite. Civilians could be the ones who suffer, as they did on May 11 during the separatist referendum, when a pro-Kiev battalion of unclear authority fired into an angry crowd in Krasnoarmeysk, killing 2 people. It appears for now the separatist movement may be losing strength in the wake of last week's referendum. The Kremlin's lukewarm reaction to its appeal to join Russia has left eastern Ukraine as pro-Russian activists and fighters in an unclear position. What are the movement's prospects if its benefactor and greatest hope is giving it the cold shoulder? A video appeal by a pro-Russian military commander asked for more volunteers, suggesting the military ranks of the separatists may be thinning. A demonstration in the center of Donetsk on May 18, where the crowd was smaller than in previous pro-Russian protests, called for opening the borders with Russia, another sign that the separatist cause is waning and in need of additional support.